If you're a beginner guitarist and you've decided that you're picking up the ukulele because the guitar is just too hard, then put it down. Now, I have been teaching guitar for a long time, and I have taught literally thousands of students, and I'm well aware of the obstacles, of the problems, of the struggles of the beginner guitarist, and I also know how to fix them, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. Now, of all the problems a beginner guitarists face, I have come up with 5 big ones, 5 biggies, and I bet you, if you are a beginner guitarist right now, that you are having at least one of these problems. Now, rather than procrastinate and wait years before you actually fix them, stay tuned, listen to this video. I'm going to address all these problems, and I'm also going to tell you exactly how you can fix them today and finally move forward in your guitar journey. Number 5 is, of course, the biggest and baddest problem that pretty much every beginner guitarist faces. And I'm going to show you something I wish I knew right at the beginning of my guitar journey that will help you fix that today. So let's get started with problem number 1. Number 1 is clean chords, and that's a biggie, right? Because if your chords don't sound good, if they don't sound clean, then that's a sure sign that you're a beginner and nothing is going to sound very good. Now, I had this problem, and I know most beginner guitarists experience this problem as well, and it's always fixable. I've also heard every excuse under the sun, with my fingers being too big, too thin, too lanky, not having the right dexterity. I don't care what it is. Everybody can play chords, and it is always down to one of two things, or maybe both of them. Either you're not pushing the string hard enough, or your finger is muting the string underneath it. So what I want you to do is I want you to get your guitar, I want you to play the chord that you struggle with most. I want you to go through every single note individually, and when you come across a muted string or a buzz string, make sure that your finger is pressing that down correctly, and make sure that you're not muting a string underneath it. If you are muting a string underneath, all you need to do is adjust the tip of your finger either up or down so that you are no longer muting that string. And also make sure that you're not using the flat parts of your fingers, that you're actually using the tips of your fingers and bringing your fingers towards the guitar rather than over the strings. Once you have your fingers all in place and you can hear each string clearly, you want to dial that muscle memory in by taking your fingers off and putting them back on again so that your fingers remember exactly where to go when they're playing that chord. Keep doing that and your chords will sound great in no time. Now, playing your chords is one thing, but changing your chords is a completely different thing entirely, and I think you would agree. Now, I definitely struggled with this, and most guitarists struggle with this, so don't fret if you're having this problem as well, because it's easily solvable, and actually you can fix this pretty fast, even if you've been struggling with it for a long time. And that's because it all comes down to muscle memory, right? You need to get the muscle memory dialed in, and this can be done anytime. So you can be sitting, chilling, watching Netflix with your partner, your cat, your hamster, whatever it is, whatever you're doing. You can be sitting there practicing your muscle memory. That's exactly what I did, and I was able to make progress very, very quickly. So let's just say you have problems with a C chord, right? So let's get into a C chord. Take your hands off, put your hands back on. Hands off, hands on. Now, I practice this with the kids that I teach every week, and this really, really helps them, and I find that they progress very fast just by doing this. Hands off, give it a wave, rub your head, rub your tummy, fingers back on, and it works. Eventually, your fingers pick this up really fast. You'll be surprised at how fast you can program your hand. And it's the same with chord changes. So if you go into a G and then into a C, for example, again, just keep on practicing that movement. Very simple, but it works. It's what works. A lot of people make this a lot more difficult and they focus on each individual finger getting from one place to the next. You know, and that's a lot. You need to take one finger to this fret and this string, this finger to this fret and this string. But really, you just need to get the shape dialed in. That's what your fingers remember. Not the actual places they need to be. It's the shape. And once you've got that dialed in, that's it. And a little quick fix as well when you're doing this, when you're actually changing chords and you're strumming, well, it's still taking a little bit of time to get there. Keep strumming. Because what a lot of people do is they strum for one chord, they change the chord, and then they strum again. They change the chord, and then they strum again. And of course, it just sounds very stoppy-starty. But if you keep on strumming, even while you're changing chords, a lot of people won't even notice, and it'll actually sound good. So that's a little trick for you. Now guys, if you are enjoying this video and you're actually getting some benefit from it, can you do me a favour and give it a thumbs up? It really helps me out, it helps the algorithm and all that. It means I can reach more people. Also, if you're new to the channel, subscribe, because there's tons of stuff on here that you can use to help you grow as a guitarist, and of course there's videos uploaded every week. I've also got a website where you can get lots of free stuff, lots of popular songs, that you can practice all this stuff completely for free, and you just need to follow the link below. That's it, let's get on to number 3. One of the clearest indicators of where you are in your guitar journey is your strumming. If your strumming doesn't sound very good, then it's quite obvious that you're still a beginner guitarist. Good news is I've worked with a lot of people that have had this issue with strumming, and I can teach you a couple of things that'll help you get better at it today. One of the biggest things that I see people getting caught up with that really stops them from strumming is the down-ups. Alright, people get so infatuated with the down-ups, alright? Is it down, 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 up, down, 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 up, left, right? I don't know, alright? As me personally, I didn't really pay attention to the down-ups, alright? Even if there is a particular strumming pattern you need to get, the most important thing is you need to feel it, and you need to have the rhythm. Because you can be doing the right strumming pattern, but it can sound completely different from the actual song. So I would say first focus on the feel and the rhythm. Pick up your guitar and actually tap the guitar. So let's just say the strum pattern is down, down, up, down, up. Alright? You can go down, down, up, down, up. Down, down, up, down, up. That doesn't sound like the song. So tap the guitar to the beat. Down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, up. That way, you're going to get a much better sound when you start actually strumming the guitar, even if you are getting the right strumming pattern. And let's just say you decide not to go with that strumming pattern, you could be going down, 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 up, down, 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 up, and really do your own thing with it. The good thing about when you're playing a song, you don't need to do it exactly as the song's been played, unless you're really keen on getting an exact cover down. You can do your own thing with it, and once you've got a couple of strumming patterns under your belt, that becomes really handy. And my favourite is actually down, down, up, down, up. And you can add that in to most songs that are played. One of the other biggest issues that I see people when they're strumming is that they're using their elbow all the time, and there's not enough movement in the wrist. Now, most of your flexibility comes from your wrist. It's much more flexible than your elbow. Alright, you're very limited if you're just using your elbow, so make sure that you're using 80% wrist and 20% elbow. You don't want your elbow stationary either, don't get me wrong. You want to use the metaphor of a paintbrush, alright? So imagine that your forearm is a paintbrush, alright? And your hands are the strokes. I'm going to stop doing that now. Hopefully you get my point. And the problem number 4, a lot of beginner guitarists don't really even think about, but I think that's a big mistake, because I wish I knew more music theory than when I started. And don't worry, you don't need to be scared. It's not like lifting this big book out and having to study, for weeks and months. You just learn a little bit at a time. And if you start with the most fundamental thing, and that is learning the notes on the fretboard, you will be able to find chords. You'll be able to find scales. You'll understand the guitar a whole lot more, and you'll actually be able to learn quicker once you understand what you're actually doing. And a lot of it isn't that hard, it is just common sense. So let's just start with the notes on the fretboard, and I'm going to explain that to you very, very quickly. There are 12 notes on the fretboard, A through to G. 5 of them have sharps, 2 of them don't, B and E. So that leaves you with A, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp. The only 2 notes that don't have sharps are B and E. Remember, B, B, and a big red circle, B. So, the final one, the big daddy of them all, is of course, bar chords. That's right, it really is the biggest stumbling block for guitarists when they're trying to progress, because they really see that as a measure of success, alright? When you can become an intermediate player, when you can play bar chords comfortably and well. And bar chords are great because you can find any chord on the fretboard. So if you've got a D sharp or you've got a C sharp minor, you can find those chords easily by knowing the top string or the A string and then get into the appropriate chord. So if you've got a D sharp minor, for example, you just need to find the D sharp on the top string and do the E minor chord. Or you can find a D sharp on the A string and do the A minor shape bar chord. And that's how it works. Another cool thing is that you can mute the strings as well, so that you can do a bit of percussive strumming on it as well. So you can take the chords off and put them back on again. And when you take them off, you can get that percussive feel by strumming the guitar. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to give you a quick fix right away. So for the F chord and the B minor chord, they're the big ones that we come up with right away, and it stops us from playing some of our favourite songs. Then I'm going to show you how you can actually practice the big bar chord shapes, and you'll be playing them in no time. So let's start with the F chord. Instead of playing the big F chord bar chord shape, you could literally just play the F major 7 shape, which sounds good in most cases. You want to take your first finger on the B string in the first fret, your middle finger on the G in the second, and your third finger on the D in the third fret. And you play that from the D string, and normally that'll work just fine. For the B chord, you can literally play a B7. For B minor, you can also play a B7. It works in some cases. If not, you can take the same shape I showed you for the F chord, move it up to the second fret and down 1 fret, play the bottom 3 strings, and that's a B minor triad. So a big mistake people make is they try to bar the chord first with their index finger, and you try to hold down all the strings, and it becomes quite a painful experience and more difficult than it needs to be. The first thing you should actually practice is the chord shape. Alright, so let's just say it's the E shape. Now I want you to get into that chord shape, start with your middle finger, and we're going to bring it up the fretboard. Let's just use the 9th and 10th fret. This would be a C-shaped bar chord because we'd be barring the 8th fret here with our first finger. So let's just start with the top string. Alright, now we've already got the top 4 strings to play there, so that's a good start. Now all we need to do is eventually get the bottom 2 strings in. Normally we just need to adjust our finger in a curved fashion so that we can get those bottom 2 strings. So we don't actually need to bar every string. We only need to bar 3 of them. And it's just about adjusting your finger and getting used to that, practicing it over time, getting the muscle memory dialed in. And the most important thing is to actually practice it. It's going to sound sucky, it's going to sound rusty at the start, but that's how all your chords sound at the start. The only way you're going to get better is if you consistently practice them. And if you do that every day, you'll play your bar chords in no time. That's it, folks. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you get something out of this lesson. If you did, please leave me a comment, let me know, and also let me know if there's anything else that you're having problems with, and I'll do my best to get a video done on that as soon as possible. Now remember, I've got lots of lessons here on the channel. I've also got them on my website below, so check them out, and I wish you all the best in your guitar journey. See you soon with a new lesson.